Altcoins get thrown at us from every which way and angle, from crypto Twitter to YouTube to Instagram to TikTok. Google searches, your best friend, and you need to know how to vet these tokens, how to buy the dip effectively, because I've been getting a lot of comments recently on my couple of last videos of different altcoins you want me to talk about or different narratives you want me to talk about. This video is going to answer all of those questions. The example for today is going to be Morpho. Okay, I absolutely love Morpho, and this isn't going to be a long-winded video. This is going to get straight to the points, the most important points that you need to know. So looking at the chart, first off, when we come over to Morpho on CoinGecko, we can see that the chart looks very healthy. Just to give you a quick comparison of what a chart looks like that isn't that healthy is Olympus DAO. Now, this is something that was very hyped in the last market, but it hasn't had any real significant traction since then. It's actually stayed pretty flat. This is the example of a chart that you don't want to be looking at. Now, when looking at new altcoins or altcoins in general, everyone tends to look at the price. I'm here to tell you that the price is absolutely irrelevant when talking about a different altcoin and looking to invest in them. The more important metric to look at is the market cap, of course. Now, this is very basic stuff. We're going to start off with the very, very basic stuff. We're going to get into the really advanced stuff, the stuff that you might not know. Two key things. We're going to look at the market cap and fully diluted market cap, and the supply and the total supply. Now, I like that it's actually capped out for max supply and total supply. That means that after a certain point, this token will no longer be inflationary. Another quick metric to look at is the fully diluted. Now, this is if all the tokens were to come out today, this is what the market cap would be at. Now, we're actually going to get into the vesting schedule a little bit later in the video, so stick around for that. The market cap is actually at $380,000 in market cap. So because I've already researched Morpho, I know that the release schedule is pretty linear for Morpho. So I don't see a massive amount of tokens dropping on the market. But this is something to pay attention to, because if all the supply is going to come out, let's say in 3 months, from example, from now, then this market cap and the price is going to diverge pretty quickly. Now, what do I mean by that? Meaning this market cap can potentially be up at around 1.3 billion, and the price could actually go down because an influx of tokens that there is no demand for comes onto the market, thus bring the price down for Morpho. Now, I always tell people it's great to find tokens that aren't trading in any other specific places, maybe a few different exchanges. Sometimes you don't want to take massive risk and hope that these tokens will have more notoriety and that more centralized exchanges will pick these altcoins up. So you want to actually look to see where this token is trading now. It's trading on a lot of the bigger exchanges. As you can see, Coinbase here, you can see Mexi, Bybit, Gate.io, CoinW, right? And if we go over Femex, BitTrue, so Kraken even, right? Uniswap, V4. So Morpho's trading on all of the exchanges where it will make it pretty easy for the average person to go and pick up. And this is one of the reasons why Morpho is one of my highest conviction plays for the cycle, because when the rush of money and liquidity flows into the market, nobody's going to have a problem looking to buy something like Morpho because it's pretty easily available everywhere. Now, a lot of the opportunity, I will say, comes from buying tokens before they hit these centralized exchanges, right? This is how I've made a ton of my money through different things like launchpads and just finding early altcoin opportunities. But that's also why you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel for that. I will be coming out with a lot of videos pertaining to that in the near future. Now, remember I told you we're going to talk about the vesting schedule as well. I already have it opened up on a site that I use regularly called cryptorank.io. And I clicked on the vesting tab up top. And what it's actually going to do is give you an entire breakdown of everything pertaining to Morpho's token schedule. So you can see that only 18% has been unlocked, around 34% is unlocked, and another 47% is untracked. But getting back to the actual vesting schedule itself, I want to click over on the chart here. And it's going to give us literally month by month the amount of unlocks that is expected. So as you can see here, we have more of a steep incline on the Morpho price as of right now. But as we go along into July and August and September, you can see we have about 3% of the token unlocks coming at a time. And then late into 2025, early 2026, which is where the peak of the cycle is most likely going to happen, we actually have a flat line on the token unlocks, and they don't start again until around mid 2026. So you don't have to worry about a lot of token inflation for something like Morpho. So you can pretty much be safe to say that we can focus on the actual market cap of Morpho versus looking at the fully diluted evaluation, because we're not seeing a lot of those tokens come out anytime soon. Now, quickly, one thing people don't understand is that VCs play a massive part in whether a token will be successful. The partners they have, the investors that they have backing them is very important. As you can see on the website, this is actually Morpho's website. You can see a lot of the massive ventures that are backing Morpho. You have Coinbase here, and Coinbase and Morpho are actually really closely tied together. Coinbase has a service called CBBTC, which pretty much means Coinbase BTC. And all of the custody for different companies like BlackRock and ARK Invest and Fidelity and so on and so forth actually custody all of their Bitcoin with Coinbase. And Coinbase has this wrapped version of Bitcoin called CBBTC, like I said, and they use Morpho to do a lot of their lending and borrowing and things like that. So when you're talking about something like Morpho that's so closely intertwined with Coinbase, this is another big reason why I love Morpho, and another reason why I think that a $380,000 market cap is extremely undervalued for something like Morpho. You also have Kraken, you have Pantera, which is arguably the biggest VC group that we have in crypto. They've been around for so long, Block Tower, and 100 plus others. This is very comforting to me, right? Very, very comforting. And if we scroll up here quickly, we also have a bounty program as well, where you can get paid to find bounty, to find things wrong with the Morpho platform. You're talking about high levels of security, and then you also have a ton of different audits, 25 plus audits to make sure that Morpho is secure as possible, because they're dealing with a ton of Bitcoin, and a lot of these institutions are not going to trust you if you don't have a secure platform. And these are the things so far that you should absolutely be looking at when you're looking to invest in a new altcoin that may come across your table or come across your desk, or that you're hearing throughout conversation, wherever you're getting the information from, right? Another key metric, and this is something else people don't really take into account, is how is the platform or the altcoin doing when it comes to growth in deposits. As you can see here, Morpho has been on a steady uptrend when it comes to deposits. Also looking at total value locked, the amount of total borrowers and things like that has also been on an uptrend. Now, this metric is absolutely imperative between understanding what type of institutions back your token and the actual user growth, unique user growth. You need to be able to see a nice uptrend of constant adoption and users. This is true adoption here, because you can see new users and new wallets that constantly continue to hold Morpho, right? Now, one thing that's very important is looking at the community aspect of a particular altcoin that you're looking to invest in. When we come over to Twitter for Morpho specifically, you want to be able to see how often they post, so 18 hours ago, 20 hours ago, so on and so forth. And you also want to be looking at how much engagement do they get. Now, a lot of these posts won't get a lot of engagement, as you can see here. 150 is not bad, 17K views isn't bad either. But this is actually an important aspect of it too, because when you get into the peak of the bull cycle, there's going to be a lot of competition for attention, and you want to make sure that the altcoin that you're investing in is able to garner that attention to continue to grow its platform, its user base, and draw in more investors, right? This is the name of the game. Now, the next two things I want to talk about are absolutely game changing, and they will make or break your experience here in crypto. And I say that very seriously. This is an app called D.Fi. Now, the particular reason why I use D.Fi is for its scanner. Now, what the hell am I scanning? Well, I'm scanning the Morpho contract address, okay? So as we head back over to CoinGecko, I'm just gonna copy the contract address for Morpho, and we're gonna head back over to D.Fi, and we're gonna paste it in the top bar. Now, it's gonna give us a score of how safe and secure this project is. Now, we can even go a little bit further and click here, and it's going to give us a DeFi AI score, right? So pretty much anywhere from 90 to 100 means no risk detected at all. And this is a safety score, meaning anywhere from 75 to 85 means a low risk, but exercise some contract when you interact with this token. Now, this is mainly because of a proxy, meaning this contract can be upgraded and changing its functionality every time. Now, on the surface, this may seem like, oh my God, like what the hell is going on with this contract? Why would I invest in something if they can just change the contract whenever they want? You guys have to actually read what it says down here. External payable virtual, right? Now, I'm not going to act like I know what that means at all. You thought I was going to explain to you how that actually works. I don't know how that works, but what we are going to do is copy it, and we're going to go into Perplexity and ask Perplexity what that means. So what does this mean? And we're going to control paste. And it's going to tell us what this means because I don't know. So pretty much the function can only be called from outside the contract, not internally. So that is actually a good thing. So it's nothing to do with the internal of the contract, okay? The function can receive ether along with the call to the payable modifier if missing the function, or revert if ether is sent. So what this pretty much means is that if someone was to send ether to the Morpho platform, for whatever reason, maybe the contract fails or whatever the case may be, it can be sent back to the person that it came from. So this is nothing internal with the actual Morpho platform itself. This is an external find that D.Fi was able to notify us about. Now, obviously, you can see why this is such a strong tool, right? And you can come and check out this site for yourself and go through it and play with it and see if it's something useful to you. I think it's extremely useful, and this will save a lot of people from getting rug pulled, from getting scams, from a lot of these altcoins that just want to be in crypto to take your money. This has been the most effective tool that I have ever used to protect myself from getting scammed in crypto. This right here. And this is something people don't know about. Not to hold up too much more of your time, but one of the single most important things that we need to be able to do in crypto is to buy the dip. We want to buy these assets at the absolute bottom. Now, if you look at something like Bitcoin, we all know these three things are true. When Bitcoin has a spike in price, altcoins have a spike in price. When Bitcoin goes down in price, altcoins go down even faster in price. When Bitcoin goes sideways, altcoins tend to bleed slowly to the downside. So the two major things that you should take away from what I just said is that if we're in a consolidation phase like we are right now, looking at the Bitcoin price, we know that altcoins are bleeding, which may mean that this is a good time to buy. Now, we want to detail levels out of support and resistance, and we use something like the volume profile. As you can see here, there's a lot of price action around this red line. And this volume candle, right, these are volume candles, is the largest out of the group of other volume candles, and we call these peaks. Now, this is typically where we see the most buying and selling at a particular price, and this is the Bitcoin chart, if I didn't already mention that before. Now, we have what are called the valleys, where these dips in volume, and as you can see here on the chart as well, we have a lot of easy momentum and easy flowing of the Bitcoin price through these levels, and you can see that back here on the chart. And you can see that right here on the volume nodes. And we usually have price that chops around in these levels when we have massive volume candles. Now you can use these to build out some support and resistance zones like I did here. This is the point of control, right, which is the largest volume node. And this is also where we've seen Bitcoin's price come back to a lot in the recent past, right? We can also build out a few other levels here that I built out. Right above this volume node, you can see that price had a difficult time getting above there, and we finally broke through. And why did we break through? Why did we have this massive green candle? Because there wasn't as much volume holding us back from this level, breaking these levels. I want to show you that on Morpho when it had this dip in April 16th of 2025. What do you think the Bitcoin price was doing around that time? Bitcoin was bleeding. Morpho was also bleeding. So this is why it's important to buy altcoins when you see Bitcoin bleeding, when you see Bitcoin consolidating, because that's when altcoins will bleed. And obviously, you want to be taking profits when we see Bitcoin spike and show a lot of these flashing indicators. This kind of stuff is what you need to be doing every time you're looking to buy an altcoin before you end up buying an altcoin. Before you end up buying it, please do these things. And if you also want some more tools so that you don't have to follow any of these crypto YouTubers, click the video up on screen. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.